Yo, it be something like breaking the sound barrier.
Lip trills, what are they good for? A lot of people are doing lip trills and they're finding success. Other people are not finding success. A lot of coaches just don't even use them. They don't think that they're worth anything. My opinion, if you do them right, they're amazing. If you don't, they're really not that useful. So here's the difference. What we want to do is make sure that every sound you make is going towards a benefit. It is giving you some gains in some way. It's giving you some relief in some way, that you're not ever just randomly singing a note or a sound or a scale or a passage just for funsies. I don't want to waste your time. You don't want your time wasted. I don't want to waste your money. You don't want your money wasted. So make sure you know how to do the sounds that you are given or you are trying. So very first thing, the lip trill has best results when you're really listening to the quality of the sound behind the lip trill. So as we know, the trill can be assisted by lifting your cheeks a little bit with your fingers. Some people find that it works better here, which doesn't work for me. Well, it did work, but not usually. Or, they can put their fingers in here. And other people just are totally way more successful when they just do the lip trill like this. Either way, it doesn't matter. Let's just try and get a buzz. Now, some people will find it difficult to get a buzz, but really focus in on the sound behind it. In other words, don't focus in on this trill here. Focus in on the sound. If you can focus in on that sound and make sure there's airflow going through it, a nice amount of volume, then you're going to have better success at the lip trill. So that's the first thing. We want to just kind of get that lip trill out. We want to listen to the vowel underneath it. So let's try and do a lip trill with an I sound behind it. So like a letter I, the word lit, I, and we're going to put that sound behind. And that sound there is a little bit bright. My larynx is a little bit higher. I'm really not going to get that much out of my scale by doing it that way. So what we want to do is switch it to a sound that's a little bit more helpful. So just think ah, a little bit rounder, a little bit deeper. If you overdo it too much, it's going to sound like this. And we'll feel a little extra here. And there is some benefit at times to do that, but in general, just get it nice and kind of in that middle zone. Now, second thing, as we go up our scales or we move across our scales, we want to make sure that that texture or tone or that vowel sound underneath doesn't change. So if we're going, my sound changed from an I to an I, and that's not as effective as if I can go. So I take away my sound. I have that behind it as opposed to. Those are different. We want them the same. So sometimes it requires a little bit of an overdoing or a little bit of a lengthening or opening or deepening, however you think of it, in order to get the sound. So just to recap where we've come so far, we want to make sure that first you can do the lip trill. So use your hands, fingers to help if you need it. Secondly, we want to make sure that the sound behind it is useful to your task. So making sure that it's, regardless of where you're at, even if I go across my range, like if I'm going, it's not going, that's not very helpful. So here's where most people, I think, have trouble with the lip trill, or they don't really get any benefit out of it. And this is why coaches don't find there's any benefit out of it. But if you just do this, you get a lot of benefit. So for the top of your range here, let's just, for our purposes, say we're going to use our head voice. So we're going to get in head voice here. If males accompany me an octave lower, it's not your true head voice. I'll show you in a second in your range. So we've got head voice here. Come back down to chest voice. Most people bring the head voice down. And so both my vowel didn't stay open and deep, and I didn't get into my chest voice. Not very helpful. It's like going, not very helpful. But a lot of people find that difficult, and they can't do it without clunking. So the sound sort of gets a little collapsed and contracted, and also it starts to grip. And this is what leads to flipping if we go the other way around. I'm not able to maintain a consistent sound across, and therefore I'm practicing something that's not helpful at all, in which case I'd say, yeah, don't use a lip trill. It's not helpful. But like most things, if you do it right, or if you do it in a way that leads to success, it is helpful. Now, as we go across this large range, same rule applies. We're basically going from an sound, and don't switch it to it. Keep it low. And start in chest. Go to head, come back to chest. Chest. So I promised I'd do that in some male ranges. So for a male range, let's have you go downwards like this. That's head voice here. And it's chest voice. Try it again. And chest. Good. Now if we go the other way, keep the depth. Chest voice at the bottom. Whether it's head or chest at the top, we don't care. Keep the depth. That's right. So for anyone who's not using a lip trill, here's what you're missing out on if it's something that you can access and you can do. One thing that you're missing out on is the ability to take a lot of tension or stress off of your vocal cords. So think of your lips here as an embouchure, which is really what it is. If I was to play a trumpet, this is my embouchure, and I can change, the width and the depth, and it's like a string of a guitar. If I pull it, it's going to get a little tighter and it's going to go a little higher. Same thing I can do with my lips in order to change the sound if I was using a trumpet. So these lips are very similar to if I put them this way and I put them into my vocal cords, which they're not very big here, and imagine that they're oscillating like this. It's basically like another pair of lips right here. So what it does, and the reason it's very helpful, is because it is a layer of friction kind of taken off of our voice if we're doing things properly. So that means I will be able to do harder, heavier things in higher ranges and take the weight off of my voice. So it gives me a good indication of what I'm actually capable of versus what I'm currently doing in my regular sounds or in my songs, because I'm able to take off some of that tension or friction. Now, if you don't do this in the way that really leads to that, you are probably just singing lightly and it's not helping any which way. Don't do that. Find a way to get it done right, because then you can take a lot of pressure off of your voice. Okay, so the second thing that you're really missing out on is reducing fatigue, or helping reduce fatigue or reset the voice back to its kind of status quo, where the larynx is nice and level, or if you don't want to think in larynx terms, the color and sound of your voice comes back to its normal state, as opposed to being high up here or really down in here and overimposed. So we can do that by doing some it's a female range, and men it would be about here. And one back down here. So we're missing out on several things if we're not using this lip trill, but I wanted to go through the reasons why a lip trill is very effective, why you don't want to pass it over if you can do it, and how come if you do it properly, you're going to get a lot of gains out of it and much use out of it. So try those things and let me know how it goes.
Check.